Hello everyone, my name is Reese and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about why the NHL Stanley Cup Finals are more exciting to watch than the NBA Finals. So over the last 10 years, 7 different NBA teams out of the 30 in the league have won the Larry O'Brien Trophy. In the last 10 years, only 6 different NHL teams out of the 30 have won the Stanley Cup. Now if you look deeper into this, you'll see that in the last 10 years, 14 different NHL teams have made an appearance in the Stanley Cup Finals, whereas in the NBA, only 9 out of the 30 have made an appearance in the NBA Finals. If you look at that for the NHL, that's almost 50% of NHL teams that have gone to the Stanley Cup Finals in the last 10 years, where in the NBA, it's only 30% of the league that is gone. So why is this the case? Well, let's start with talking about the NBA salary cap and the NHL salary cap. So the NBA salary cap is at a skyrocket $94.14 million for a 14-man roster. The NHL salary cap is a $73 million cap hit for a 23-man roster. So for an NBA team, this allows general managers on every NBA team, it gives them the luxury to bring in all this superstar talent, resulting in 2 or 3 consistently stacked teams every year that are constantly winning and going to the NBA Finals year after year. Meanwhile, due to the lower salary cap and the massive roster that an NHL team has to carry, NHL teams can only bring aboard so much superstar talent on their team. This ends up spreading the talent around the league, making the NHL more exciting to watch and more unpredictable. Also, if you've ever watched an NBA game, you'll notice how one player can take over a game in a heartbeat and take his team to victory. Whereas in the NHL, that's not the case. You need multiple players competing every night, working hard in order for that team to be successful and win. But I'll elaborate on that more later. So I decided to discuss this topic with you guys because as a sports fan that really enjoys basketball and hockey, I believe something must be done with the NBA. And I think that the next time the NBA has its contract negotiations with the NBA Players Association, I think the NBA needs to step up and say, hey, we gotta lower the salary cap. Or I think they gotta find some sort of rule where NBA teams don't have that luxury of bringing 4 or 5 talented superstar players on their team. And by doing that, I feel that it's going to give the other teams that don't have all the gimmicks and all the attractions to bring in superstar players in, I feel it's going to give them more opportunity to start bringing in more talent. And that way, it'll make the league more unpredictable, more fair, and more exciting. So the following examples will further emphasize and support the points I've raised. So earlier I mentioned how one player can take over the game. Just look at the last 7 years. LeBron James has gone to the NBA Finals in the last 7 years. He's taken 2 different NBA teams up to the finals with him. He's won 2 championships with the Miami Heat, and he's won 1 with the Cleveland Cavaliers as of last year. Same with the Golden State Warriors, who have gone to 3 NBA Finals and won an NBA championship in 2015. You'll also notice, back to LeBron, every team he's been on, he's had 2 or 3 superstar players with him. Same goes for the Golden State Warriors, who had 4 superstars on their team in the last 3 years. Now, in the NHL, some teams do have 3 or 4 superstars on their team, but never have you seen a team that is stacked with all that talent go to a Stanley Cup Finals 7 years in a row. Just look at the Washington Capitals, for example. This is a team that has been stacked from top to bottom with talent for the last 10 years. They've got players like Alexander Ovechkin, 50-goal scorer, Nicholas Backstrom, 80-90 point scorer every year, Evgeny Kuznetsov, 3 of the best players in the world on that team. And still, the Washington Capitals have not made an appearance in the Stanley Cup Finals, and they have not won a Stanley Cup. So, finally, I'm going to explain how NBA superstar teams are going to the finals consistently. Let's talk about, first, let's get into the NBA and how in 2007, the lowest seeded, since 2007, the lowest seeded team that has made it to an NBA Finals was the 4th place Boston Celtics, who, by the way, were stacked with talent. They had Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce. 4 superstars in the league. And they went all the way to the finals. They didn't win, but they did go to the finals. Then you got the 2012 Oklahoma Thunder, who went all the way to the finals with superstar players Kevin Garnett, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden. Recently, now you got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been in the NBA Finals in the last 3 years and won a championship in 2016. Same scenario, stacked with talent. You got LeBron James, you got Kyrie Irving, you got Kevin Love, and you got Tristan Thompson. Just a stacked team. So now, looking at this NHL Stanley Cup Finals, since the talent is spread out in the league, not always is the most stacked team always winning the Stanley Cup. Let's go back and look at the 2012 New Jersey Devils, a team that had only 3 superstars on their team: Ilya Kovalchuk, Zach Parise, and Marty Brodeur, who, by the way, was getting very old and to the point where he was at that age where he's going to retire. That team came 6th place in the Eastern Conference, and they powered their way all the way to the Eastern Conference Finals, and they beat, I repeat, they beat the #1 team in the entire NHL regular season, the New York Rangers, who were stacked from head to toe, same as Washington Capitals, with Brad Richards, Marian Gaborik, Ryan McDonough, Ryan Callahan, Michael Del Zotto, and they had the #1 goalie in the world, Henrik Lundqvist. Still, the New Jersey Devils powered through, beat the New York Rangers, and went to the Stanley Cup Finals. They didn't win, but they still made it all the way to the finals. So, although there are NHL teams with massive amounts of talent, it doesn't always guarantee that an NHL team is going to win. However, if you look at the NBA over the last 10 years, you notice the trend of superstar teams waltzing over 70% of the NBA. This is further proof that in the NHL, it takes more than one person to win. It takes an entire team to win. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it.